Hello, welcome to my channel. Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I'm doing the Alphabet Tags Remix A to H, which is created by Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. And here is a description Jim had for this tag. I modified it slightly to put it in third person. In 2021, Jim did a series of alphabet tags for each letter of the alphabet, beginning with the A tag and ending with the YZ tag. In this video, Jim has chosen his favorite prompts from the original tag videos, A through H, to create a new tag video. And of course, I'm on this one. So, the prompts. A is for America. What do you consider to be the great American novel? Now, in my original video, I came up with the decision that there is no one great American novel. You can't use the definite article, the. You can use a. You can choose a great American novel. I know people like Steve Donoghue said you should put them in sort of time frames, like centuries or maybe decades, saying this is the great American novel from this era. I still prefer to choose American novels, a great American novel, because so many people can have different views on what makes a novel great. And I'm changing my novel a bit from the first time because I've read so many other books, and I'm choosing what was the last great American novel, or a great American novel that I recently read. And that is The Man with the Golden Arm by Nelson Algren. Now, what makes this a great American novel? He was talking about an important subject, a great subject in America at the time he was writing, and that was drug addiction, something that is still important today. But his story was about a wounded World War II vet who comes back to America addicted to morphine. And his life is not a good one. He has lots of issues. But what makes it great is that Algren takes you into the lives of the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the prostitutes, the dreamers who were living in Chicago, struggling for an existence. And I was there. I could imagine Nelson Algren sitting in a dive bar, listening to the stories of desperate people, talking about their doomed lives. And it is just a great novel that everyone should read. And it is important because drug addiction is still with us. Drug addiction has always been with us, not even in America, but over all countries. And that's what makes it a great American novel. B is for banned. Are there books you think should be banned? Hell no. Actually, bloody hell no. No books should be banned. You should not ban Adolf Hitler. You should not ban his Mein Kampf. You should not ban the Turner Diaries. I don't remember the author. He's a turd. They're terrible books by terrible people spewing terrible ideas, but they should not be banned. If you want to examine those, they need to be available. But in America, those kind of books, they're not banned. But in Florida, there is a governor who wants to be president of the United States, who is going on a campaign that pretty much bans books. You might argue that his policies are not bans in the technical sense, that he is allowing laws for parents to express their parental rights over what their children read, but they are bans. let me post an article in the the description to a Washington Post article that says just how truly awful these laws in Florida are about books in schools. Now, I'm going to give a quote that I got that's based on the Post article. This comes from the Move On organization. And this is how they describe what this governor in Florida is doing. Teachers in Florida have removed books from their classroom, or wrapped their bookshelves in paper so that students can't access them in order to avoid being charged with a felony up to 5 years in prison with a $5,000 fine simply for providing students with books that Ron DeSantis and his supporters find offensive. So if you're a teacher in Florida and you have a objectionable book in your classroom, you can go to jail for 5 years, be fined $5,000, lose your teaching certificate. Is that a ban? In the technical sense, maybe not, but it is so deplorable. And this man wants to be president of the United States. Imagine the havoc he will rain upon book owners in classrooms. What these people are doing is beyond disgusting. C is for children. What is the last children's book you read? The last time I tried to read a children's book was Jorge el Curioso by H.A. Rey. This is a translation into Spanish of the children's book, Curious George. I didn't have a lot of success reading this because Spanish is hard for me. I'm not fluent in the language, but I was trying to get my skills up a bit. I still need to work on it. Maybe someday I can read a book in Spanish if I work at it. I should work at it, but that's the last time I tried to read a children's book. D. D is for doctor and dialect. Who is your favorite Doctor Who? And what is your favorite book about time travel? Now I'm going to have to make a big confession here. I've only seen the original series of Doctor Who. I have not seen any of the rebooted series, so when I make my comment, just remember, I have not seen the new ones. But my favorite is going to be probably a little controversial. I like Colin Baker, the one with the wild hair and the wild outfit. He was a bit brash. He's a bit rude. He's a bit crude. He's a little bit more violent than the other Doctor Who's. And I think that's what I liked about him. He's just out there. He was his own character. He was wild and crazy, and I liked that. The second favorite is Tom Baker, probably followed by a whole bunch of the Peter Davidson, the Pertwee, the Hartnell, the other guy, I forgot his name, and followed dead last was the last Doctor Who, Sylvester McCoy. I did not like him at all. He was a pansy, or a panty waist. It's not an enjoyable Doctor Who. And my favorite book about time travel is one of the great classics, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. I like this because Wells did not play games with time travel. Some authors in science fiction set up all these rules about time travel. They have time cops. They have paradoxes, and some of them get so very silly, like Stephen King in his novel about the assassination of Oswald and killing him, JFK. Just a ridiculous amount of time nonsense. But H.G. Wells, he just had that as a plot line to take his time traveler into the future and talk about the Morlocks. And that was fascinating. So that's my favorite time travel novel. E. E is for ebook. Do you prefer ebooks or physical paper books? If you look behind me, you're going to see a whole ton of paper physical books, so I do like them. But as I'm getting older, I think I do prefer ebooks, especially if they're well formatted and they don't contain errors, and I have a very good device for reading, like my Kindle Paperwhite. This is great for reading ebooks. So I think I am growing into the preferring ebooks. F is for Frida. Steve Donoghue's schnauzer. Show us your furry companions. Well, I've got 4 furry companions. So right now, I'm going to have to prepare to do some editing to show you my 4 furry companions. This is Millie. She is 20 years old, and she loves her Furminator brush. This is Pip. He is an orange boy, about 2 years old. Next to him is Teddy. He's a good buddy. Teddy is about 8 years old. This is Bella. She is about 2 years old. G is for Georgia. Have you read any books by Georgian authors or about Georgia? This could relate to Georgia the country, Georgian in the US State, or the Georgian authors who lived during the Georgian period. I have not read any books from the country of Georgia. I have read some books about the state of Georgia. And there are 2 that I want to call out. One is by an author from Georgia, and that is Wise Blood by Flannery O'Connor. And her book is about Hazel Motes, a wounded World War II veteran who's become an avowed atheist and intends to spread the gospel of anti-religion. It is just a fascinating book. It is dark. It delves into the inner crannies of religion that are just disturbing. And I also like a book set in Georgia, and that is Deliverance by James Dickey. You might know the story from the movie, but the book is magnificent. Dickey was a poet, and it shows in his magnificent prose style as these 4 men wander into a bad time in the backwoods of Georgia. I highly recommend reading the novel Deliverance. You can watch the movie if you want to, but read the novel. H is for Hardy and Hemingway and Highsmith. What is your favorite novel by Thomas Hardy or Ernest Hemingway or Patricia Highsmith? Well, my favorite Thomas Hardy novel is Jude the Obscure. I can relate to Jude Folly and his doomed life. And it is a doomed life. And no one does the doomed life better than Hardy. For Hemingway, A Farewell to Arms. There is a scene in that book where the narrator is wounded and he's being driven in an ambulance, and there's all of a sudden a trickle of blood flowing down from the bunk above him as a soldier dies. Great scene. For Patricia Highsmith, Strangers on a Train. Great mystery novel, great concept. And that is the end of the tag. Who am I going to tag? I'm not sure who's been tagged in this. Let's do some that I don't think have been tagged. Book Time with Ryan, I don't think has been tagged. I don't think Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics has been tagged. And I don't think Micah Cummins has been tagged. Well, if you have been tagged, you got tagged twice. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Well, thank you for watching and keep on reading.